start, when we stop, we gon' get it done. Get it when we start, we gon' get it done. Start, when we stop, we gon' get it done.
Anthony's World.
Woo! What's going on, everyone? I'm Anthony. You know me as Anthony's World. We are back with another fucking banger episode. Real quick, I do want to say that we brought back Paradise Studios. What's going on? You are the first guest back in Paradise Studios. This is where it all started, actually. This is where it started. But we have, number one, he's fucking jacked as shit. Look at this dude, fucking swole. The CEO of Evolved Mastery, Mr. Princeton Clark. Your lettering. I saw it again. I was like, that's an F. That's not an F. But yeah, so man, I appreciate you coming on, bro.
I appreciate you having me, boss.
Man, this is gonna be fun. That was a powerful fist. All right, let's go. All right. How you living today?
I'm living good, man. Every breath is a gift, man. So
ain't that the truth?
Every moment.
I love that. Man, already with it already. So Evolved Mastery, like where does that come from? I see it right now, but like, where did you come up with that concept?
You know, when it comes to branding, I always tell my clients, you know, you are your brand, you know, and so in essence, Evolved Mastery, the brand was built over the course of my life because I realized that as I evolved through self-mastery, I could unlock power, potential, and purpose to create a life that I truly desired, to truly manifest an ideal life. So Evolved Mastery, even the colors, black, gold, and white, you know, represents growing from the darkness into the light to alchemize a life of pure gold that adds value to the world.
Love it. The 3 P's. He said, what was it? What was the 3 P's again? I heard it.
Power, potential, and purpose.
Power, potential, and purpose. Yo, that's power. That's power. That's fire. That's fire. I love it. All right. So first off, cheers. If you know me and you know the podcast, I like to give everyone a little bit of a drink. We are drinking some amazing, obviously, you know what it is, 1942. 1942 on the rocks. We're going to have a little drink. We're going to sit back. We're going to relax. We're going to talk. And we're going to have a great fucking conversation. And you get to learn about this fucking man. I'm super pumped. So, all right, just dive in. Where are you from? How old are you? What have you experienced? What have you been through? What's your past? What is you? What is you? What defines you?
I love it, man. Well, first off, I'm going to simplify it. I'm just a spirit on a journey having a human experience, but this human experience has given me a gift to add light to the world in a special way, you know, but people see this version of me. They don't understand the story behind this version of me. So as a kid, you know, I grew up in Central Virginia, Lynchburg, Roanoke area where Liberty University is. And I grew up in a smaller town outside of Lynchburg, one stoplight town, or as I say, 2 blink town. You blink once, you're halfway through, you blink twice, you're out of it. But
2 blink town, I love them towns.
I grew up, man, just close-knit community, you know, but it was hard times. Like I remember as a kid, like being really young. I'm 42 now, you know, but I remember growing up and the KKK marching through my town. Like I still remember the fear that people felt. I still remember, you know, that energy, you know, but it was hard times. So as children, we got raised with tough love, you know, but I was abused as a child, mentally, physically, verbally, emotionally, you know, molested between the ages of 9 and 11.
Damn, I'm sorry to hear that.
You know, you know, people see this version of me, and when I share stuff like that, they're like, well, how did you get to this point, you know, through all that, you know, but I say my life gifted me with the opportunity to learn lessons that my soul was strong enough to handle so that I could be a voice to other people. And,
amen to that. Damn. Oh, shit. All right, we about to get real up in this one.
Real, man. I told you, bro.
Drop the fucking board. Drop the questions. Drop the fucking board.
Yeah, man. So, you know, I didn't really realize what was happening to me because you grow up in that type of environment, especially when it's family. It just feels normal.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember at the age of 16 being in my grandmother's house watching the old Phil Donahue talk show, and it was on victims of domestic violence and abuse. And there was a young man on there in his 20s, and he was sharing his life, and it almost mirrored mine. And I remember that day, my face got hot, my ears got hot, and I was pissed. But I couldn't tell anybody because it was family, you know, and I couldn't tell the external world because I was raised what happens in the house stays in the house.
Yep.
You know, and long story short, I ended up struggling with deep depression throughout high school. I was also on medication for ADHD from the time I was in first grade until 7th, 8th grade when I stopped taking it, you know, but in high school, I started struggling with deep depression really bad. I was a tremendous athlete, could have went D1 football or track. And it just hit me heavy, man, because I hadn't found my voice.
Yeah.
I didn't have the space to speak. And, you know, my mom cleaning my room one day found a journal because I used to write all the time. all the different ways that I could kill myself. She found it. Her and my dad talked to me. We went to see a psychiatrist, and they put me on medication, of course, what they're going to do. But after about a week of taking it, I said, you know what, I'm not going to take it because it's not going to change what happened to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I barely ended up graduating high school, got out of school, got involved with drugs. I was an alcoholic before I turned 21. I used to drink so bad I threw up blood, had bleeding ulcers. And first started participating in gang-related activity.
So bad I gave you alcohol.
Nah, man.
Okay.
No.
Like,
no,
shit.
you know what's funny is people ask me, you know, if you were an alcoholic, how can you drink now? And I tell them because I don't have anything to run from.
Damn.
I don't have anything to escape because when I did it before, it was like I was escaping the reality that I didn't love. You know, It was my escape. Even drugs, cocaine, weed, whatever. You know, now weed's not considered a drug anymore. Yeah. Thank God. But a lot of healing happening right now.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes people use it as a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Coping mechanism also. But yeah, man. So, you know, being involved with selling drugs, running the streets. One of my closest friends was shot point blank right next to me, killed because I was running my mouth. You know, but I was just angry. Like I didn't care.
Yeah.
I fought all the time. And I always say I've seen things, you know, that most people only see on TV. But I got married when I was 21. Thinking, you know what, I want to have a family and give them the love I never had. But, you know, I didn't even know what that looked like.
Yeah.
And my oldest kid's mom, we're not together now, but I don't say my ex-wife. She's a beautiful person, mother of my children, always will be. But her father committed suicide when she was 11. So knowing what I know now, a lot of it was trauma bonding. Mm-hmm. And for 3 years, it was just back and forth because we were dealing with so much pain. So at the age of 23, sitting in my car, you know, I just felt like I was worthless. I'm no good. I'll never add anything to this world. My kids need something better. I took my gun and I put it to my head. And that night I decided I was done. And I pulled the trigger and the gun misfired.
Really?
And I sat there that night, man. And every time I think about it, I tell people, even though the literal bullet didn't fire, a conscious one did.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I realized that I wasn't where I was because of what happened to me. I was where I was because of how I chose to respond to it. And dude, like that realization, you know, personal professional development didn't exist for me. I grew up Southern Baptist, everybody's going to hell, you know, the Bible Belt of Virginia, you know, and so even pastors in my community said I was a lost cause, you know, and so, but I had this mass awakening in my life. And I realized that if I had the power to create a life that I hated, how much more power did I have to create a life that I loved if I just started living like I gave a damn and like I loved myself regardless of what had happened.
Became a man with purpose.
Right. And I realized, speaking to that, with every one thing that I had experienced, there was at least 1 million people out there experiencing just one of those things. So if I could grow, if I could create a life of freedom, of healing on the other side of that, then I could change the world. Yeah. And for the first time in my life, I found purpose. I found a reason to live. And that week I quit drinking cold turkey. I quit using drugs. I walked away from people, friends, you know, that lifestyle. I isolated myself for an entire year and I dove deep into it. And it's a long story. We got a set amount of time, but you know, I ended up.
Fuck the time. We talk.
Yeah. You know, I ended up, you know, growing up in the Bible Belt, I didn't know what was happening to me. All I knew was I wanted to make a difference. So, but the only way I knew how to make a difference was, okay, maybe I'm called. Everybody's, you've been called to preach. You've been called to preach. So I ended up going back to school. I got a bachelor's in biblical studies in Eastern religion. Ooh, you know, because I was like,
now we're talking. That's some conversations I love to have.
Yeah, man, we can go deep on that, you know, but I realized that as I started studying even the Hebrew, the Greek, the Aramaic, I realized I was like, so much is taught wrong. So I decided to become a pastor. I was like, I'm going to be like Neo in the Matrix. I'm going to go in and I'm going to start teaching it right. Long story short, I pastored for 5 years, didn't go so well. But you start realizing the high level of cognitive dissonance that people have. They've been programmed. They only know what they've been taught to know. Yep. And they don't want to see anything outside of that. And that happens in every area of life, not just religion. And so I chose to step down after 5 years. And my spirit just told me one day, you know, you can't use this system to change the system. You must become something new. And that's when I dove deeper into metaphysics, you know, spirituality, meditation, taught meditation for 6 to 7 years. And the journey to impacting the world shifted. and I could go on and on, but fast forward, I've worked with people like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Pat Quinn, Pete Vargas. Some of my early mentors were Zig Ziglar, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Les Brown, Dr. Miles Monroe.
Epic. So do you, in Evolved Mastery, do you focus on like mental healing?
Yeah. So
is that like the main focus?
Yeah. Evolved Mastery is based on what I call the 3 foundational stones: mind, body, soul. Now, you always hear people say, if you want to create alignment in your life, then you must align your mind, body, and soul. But they're so vague with it that it's like, what the hell does that even fucking mean?
Yeah.
But if we start with the top and just say the mind, most time, if I say mindset, most people are going to think the brain. But the way I teach mindset is different. When I want to shift my mindset, if I say, for instance, if I'm thinking, it's not my brain saying I am thinking. It is the conscious awareness that thought is happening. So in essence, I am not the thought. I am not the program. I am the observer that gets to choose what thoughts and programs run if I can expand my awareness of what I'm choosing to pay attention to. And so I teach people how to get back to that higher state of awareness, how to take their power back and stop leaking energy into things that don't serve them. Stop leaking energy into mindsets and relationships and things that just aren't in alignment with them. Stop leaking healing into that victim mentality that tells you can't be better, that tells you you'll never have a successful relationship, that tells you you'll never be more than what you are right now because this happened to you, that happened to you, that happened to you. No, you can be whatever the hell you want to be when you decide you want to be it. When I wake up every single day, I look that idea, because every person in here, Princeton is just an idea.
Yeah.
My mom has an idea of Princeton. My dad, the world, everybody listening to this podcast has an idea of Princeton. But every day I wake up, I tell Princeton who the hell he's going to be, because this is just the earth suit that I get to reside in.
Yeah.
But
Epic.
Mindset is huge. It's conscious awareness, realizing the power of thought, and from the power of thought, we take action.
So for me, I'm big on the mindset belief of like changing. So like what I do is, and like it works for me, and this is like what I want to teach people. So like it works for me, but like one thing that I do is I put myself in like pressuring situations to where I can, like, my mindset has like an alter, like it has to listen almost. Like it has to listen. Like I'm a big believer. Like people I get so much hate on Instagram and shit because I'm like, yo, go fucking put your back against the wall. Go fucking do that. Like, I promise you're going to come out stronger. And they're like, that's not the right way. You're telling people to go do all kinds of crazy shit. And I'm like, yes, I am. Because like, if you want to be fucking average, then why are you following me? Number one, like that's just not part of it. But like, I try to like put myself in those pressuring situations because I have to. Because I have to. And so like, when you're teaching, are you teaching people to put themselves in pressuring situations, or are you telling them like how to change it? Because like how you're teaching it, like it's really easy to tell somebody that their mindset's wrong, or their mindset's off, or that this is off, or this is off. But how can you help them fix it? And that's been the hardest problem that I've had doing, is like I can tell that when my mindset's off, but I don't necessarily know how to teach myself or others how to change it, because it came to me naturally of like just having control.
Yeah.
So how do you teach someone that might not have as much control?
Well, number one, I tell anybody who comes to me, because everybody says they want change. Everybody's not ready to take the action to create change. People look at me. I was recently having this conversation with my guy, Blake. People look at me and they're like, dude, you're so huge. When I look in the mirror, I don't see someone that's huge, because it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's first nature now. When I look in the mirror, because I've put in the work over the years, I'm now just where I am. This is normal to me.
Yeah.
But the average person who hasn't put in the work looks at me and they're like, I wish I had that body. Okay. Well, are you willing to go to the gym and start lifting 85 if you can't lift 225 on the bench, and just get to the point where you condition yourself to lift that weight? If you're not willing to add weight in the areas where you say you want to grow, you don't want to grow.
Yeah.
You don't really want it. You're just bullshitting yourself and making yourself feel good, and you're telling everybody that you want to achieve some shit that you really don't have the urgency to achieve, and you're getting that release of dopamine when everybody's like, yeah, good.
You're gonna do good, yep.
Right? And so I tell my clients, when you come to me, get ready to jump, or I'm going to kick your ass off the cliff, because you were born to fly, and either you're going to form wings and you're going to soar, or you're going to crash and burn. But that's going to be your choice. Yeah. I'm not here for everybody. I'm here for people who know that they were here to create a difference in the world. I'm not here for everybody that just wants to talk about it.
Yeah. Fuck the talkers. Action. Every fucking time. Fuck the sayers. Fuck what you. Yeah. Trust me. And that was the hard part with me in my life too. I'm not gonna lie. Like there was a lot of times I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Now I come to the point. It's like I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna quit drinking for 30 days. Fuck that. I ain't gonna quit drinking for 30 days. But I'm gonna fucking do some different shit to make sure that I live a good life and can fucking control everything in me, right? Because of like everything. So I love that, man. You have to take action, but you also have to take reasonable action with yourself. Right. You have to understand what you want and what you need in life to achieve is going to have to be reasonable actions that fit within inside your parameters. And like that's one thing that I learned as of recently, I would say in the last like year, 2 years, that has really, really helped me. Because I was the person like when I was younger, like I was all in. I'm all in or I'm not in at all. Like pure principle for me, it's like I'm either all in or I'm not in at all. And then I realized like that worked in the beginning for me, but it's not what's going to take me from this level to the next level. Now I have to take little steps and change little steps and change little things, right? Eat better, do this, do that. Work out for 45 minutes a day. I used to like literally, and I noticed that, like when I started working out again, I would like go and like crush my fucking body, and then I'd be like dead for 2 days after. And then when you take 2 days off from the gym, you're like, well, fuck, it's really hard to get back in the third day because your lack of motivation. And then you go in there and you crush it again, and the next thing you know, you only worked out 3 days a week because you just keep killing your body. And then that was like, so then I noticed like, okay, sometimes taking a step back and doing little things every here and there is really what's going to be the big evolving step for me.
It's very much so, and I'm glad you brought that up. In Asian culture, they call it the Kaizen Steps.
Kaizen Steps.
Kaizen Steps. It's the small incremental steps to achieving the big goal. A lot of people want to achieve, they get a vision. Number one, most people don't understand the difference between a dream and a vision. Everybody has dreams, but the dream doesn't become a vision until you can see the steps to achieving the dream. So when you think about the Kaizen steps, it's about being able to take the small incremental steps. So how do you do that? A lot of people may say, well, how do I start taking smaller steps, those productive steps? First off, don't just write your goals down, because a lot of people write their goals down and they're like, I'm going to do this. Okay, take it a step further. Write the goals down. Under each goal, write down the steps to achieving that goal from where you can see right now. As you do that, what you give yourself is a compass. Now, the only person you can blame for not achieving that goal, if you can see the steps, is you. And as I always say, don't complain about the results you don't get from the work that you don't do. I'm not focused on jumping up to accomplish the big vision, because I know that right now is my most powerful moment. Tomorrow doesn't even exist. The past doesn't exist. Only thing that exists right now is right now. So how powerfully can I take action right now? And it's not about being perfect. It's about progress. My goal,
moving in a direction.
Right.
Yes.
The goal at the end of the day is just to be able to say, even though I may not be here today, I'm better. Yeah. So take the stress off of yourselves, really step into the opportunity that you've been given, because it's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
I've been on this for a minute. I've been saying this like hardcore. It's actually been my preaching statement the last, I would say, probably the last 6 months. Is I spent so long, because I am younger. I'm only 27. I am younger, and everyone that I'm interviewing and everyone that I'm talking to, and I've been able to be present around some of the most amazing, incredible people. Learning and hearing your story, it's you're an amazing, incredible human that has had an amazing, incredible journey. And I've been sitting here for this whole time, and I've been sitting here looking up. And this is something that I want to preach to everyone, is that a lot of you people are looking up to certain people in life. And I just want to say, I've learned from everyone that I've interviewed, no one knows how, they don't have it figured out. They don't have
no
life figured out, right? They don't. Exactly. There's no blueprint. But inside of this journey, it's I kept realizing, and I truly became at peace when I realized in my life, I spent so long, first it was this goal, then it was this car, then it was this watch, then it was this house, then it was this boat, then it was this jet, then it was this city, then it was this town, then it was this country, and then it was this amount of money, then it was this, and this. And that all realized that they all became an evolving door that I literally was just running in circles. Mm-hmm. And then when I found peace inside of it, that I have, and I'm not saying don't lose the destination. Don't lose that. Have those goals. Still have those goals. Just remember, if you're a person that goes out and has goals and achieves goals, at the moment you achieve that goal, there's going to be another one.
Right.
So fall in love with the process and reward yourself, but don't make it the end all be all. Goals are not the end all be all. Just being at peace inside of the journey has been like one of the biggest eye-opening events for me in my 27 years of life. And I just now learned this, like literally maybe 6 months ago, maybe. Like I was sitting here and like I finally became at peace and I became more relaxed and more like, husa. You know what I mean? Husa. And it became like a really, really good vibe for me. And that's been like a really big eye-opener. And I've said it many times and I'm going to say it again. I do this podcast for reasons like this. So I have moments like this. So I can see moments like this where I realize like, damn, this is fucking epic. So this is 100% selfishly because I'm learning everything from everybody.
Right.
And so like I keep doing it. And if I'm learning something, I know everyone else is. Because I'm a stubborn, hard-headed motherfucker. It takes a lot to tell me something. Yeah. It takes a lot. I love this, man. I love this. So who was your favorite? You named a lot of big fucking names, a lot of big mentors. Who was your favorite person to work with? I mean, you named Zig, you named Tony Robbins, Les Brown, right? Les Brown, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who was your favorite to work with?
Oh man, I'm gonna be
because those are some
honest.
incredible people.
Yeah, those, the answer might not be what most people would think, but I honestly don't have a favorite out of them because each one of them came at phases in my life where each of their messages were so incremental, or instrumental rather, in me getting what I needed at that time that I can never put one above another and say, oh, this was my favorite. This was my favorite. My greatest teacher has always been my own soul, my own spirit, because as I learned to be open, as I learned to be more aware of myself, I realized that I didn't have to seek out external validation or approval for the purpose that I had already been given. And this is why I always tell people, no matter who you talk to, no matter what coach you have, you got to get so centered in the vision that's been given to you because with every vision comes provision. You will never be given a vision. Your spirit, your soul, whatever you want to call it, will never reveal something to you that's possible for you if it's not possible for you. And so it requires a sense of understanding, but also a sense of taking action and realizing that this is a part of you. Before you ever had a name, you had a purpose. And a lot of the times we seek out mentors. I never idolized a mentor, but I'm grateful. I will say, financially speaking, because that's huge. You see a lot of coaches who aren't monetizing, they aren't growing. I will say financially speaking, Tony Robbins had one of the greatest impacts on how I saw money. Because he taught me, because, in the beginning, you just want to help people, right? And then coming out of the church and whatnot, it's like, I just had a heart to help people. I just want to serve, but serving turned into martyrdom. I'm sacrificing so much of myself trying to help people and not understanding my value. And Tony told me once, he said, people don't pay you to talk to you. If they wanted someone to talk to, they could hire a psychiatrist. People don't pay you to talk to you. They pay you for the decades of wisdom that you have gained. They pay you for the blood, sweat, and tears and the wisdom gained. They pay you for the thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars you have invested in programs. They pay you for all of that, all the books that you've read. They pay you to turn decades into days. They pay you for the journey.
That's epic.
What that did was it expanded the value of, because I used to be like, why people charge so much money for coaching? And here I am as a coach. But now it's like, it flipped a switch in me. And I was like, thousands of dollars. Tony has a waiting list, $1 million to work with him one-on-one. And he has a freaking waiting list. Of course, he's working with superstars and all this, but that all goes into the stages of growth. As we're growing, as we're stepping into these stronger, wiser, more efficient versions of ourselves, different mentors are going to come into our lives. And if you're not willing, Tony always says success leaves clues. If you're not willing to surround yourself with the right people, the people who have achieved what you say you want, and you're not willing to take that hard truth, that truth that up to this point you have not been conditioned to receive, then you don't really want success. But it goes deeper than that. You don't truly love yourself enough. You don't honor the vision that's been given to you enough to see that you're the greatest investment that you have. And so I'd say as far as the financial aspect and how I've been able to just grow and start scaling my business at this point, and even doing events and whatnot for the time that I've done it, Tony played a major role in that.
What is if you could put something that you as a man had to do in one word to reach a new level of consciousness or one, and I mean like one word, like, was it I had to become powerful? Was it I had to become aware? I had to become strong? You know what I mean? Like if you could put it in one word, what would that be? Because a lot of times just, one word, like, we'll put it in a category that makes it powerful for people.
I had to become evolutionary.
Okay. What do you mean by that? Elaborate on that.
Change is the only constant. Change is going to happen no matter what. And when you look at even the idea of evolution over time, survival of the fittest, if I am going to be the fittest, most efficient version of myself, then I must be willing to evolve with the changes, but not just settle with the changes. Ask myself, how can I be the most powerful, most efficient, most loving, most, exemplified version of myself based on the vision that I have right now? And so every day, like I tell people all the time, I don't see challenges. I don't have a fear. Like, fear is my best friend, because fear is nothing more than an alarm system from my soul letting me know I'm stepping into something new. So I don't have, fear, because I embrace the evolutionary power of what I am. I know that as change happens, I've been given a gift to grow or to stop. And to stop is failure. So I don't plan on stopping.
Yeah.
So evolutionary.
Evolutionary. Fire. We're going to clip that one. Clip. I love it. I love that. All right. So what do you think the number one thing is that stops people in their life and from becoming, as in your words, evolutionary? What stops them?
The number one thing is a sense of urgency. Everybody lives like tomorrow's promised. But, people say, oh, I have this goal, I have that goal. They do the New Year's resolutions, they do all this stuff, and they never achieve the goal. Why? Because they don't have a sense of urgency, because they don't truly love
think they'll
themselves.
get next year.
Right. But see, I always ask my clients, if I were to put a vest on you right now, and I set a 24-hour timer, and it had explosives on it, and I said, you have 24 hours to start stepping into your power to create a new reality that's moving towards your goal, or you will die. And you couldn't take the vest off. It's either going to explode or you're going to take steps and it's going to disarm it.
Yep.
You would show up. There would be no more excuses. You would literally, from that moment that timer start, you're on Google, you're messaging people. I need help. I'm trying to step into this. Oh, I need to build that. Okay, how do I need to do? Oh, I need to start that LLC. Okay, how do I start an LLC? Oh, you know how to start an LLC. You're not going to sit back and make excuses.
Yeah.
So it's a sense of urgency. And again, it goes back to that they don't truly love and honor their life. So they just waste powerful moments.
The power of 24 hours. I will never, ever, ever take away, because I've seen some people and I can see myself, I've done it too. The power of 24 fucking hours. Mm-hmm. What you can accomplish in 24 hours can set you up for weeks, months, years. The power of right now, the power of the next 24 hours. It's like we look up and it's like I'm the same way. Like I literally know that I say this all the time. I'm living on borrowed time. And then sometimes it's like, oh, we need to, chill. We need to relax. We need to do this. It's like, no, my life is constant. Go, 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 go. I fly everywhere. I travel, interview amazing fucking people, do all this crazy shit. And it's because I realize if I don't do shit now, I might never get to. Mm-hmm. So I'm here to do shit right now. Literally right now.
What's powerful about that? I was actually having this conversation last night. If I were to die right now and because I was asked, what do you feel would be the scariest thing to ever happen to you? Because you say you don't have fear. And I say, if hypothetically I had a fear, this would be it. To die and meet the version of me that I could have been. All the books I never wrote, all the people I never impacted, the songs I never sang, the journeys I never took, the places I never visited, the experiences I never created, that would be hell.
Yeah.
So as long as I have this life, every single moment, I'm going to live the hell out of it.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving. When I leave this world, I'm going to be an empty cup, bro.
Yeah. I love that. Hell yeah. Now we talking. So Mexico? So let's get the plane. No, I love that. Go. So I know we talked about earlier. You've wrote how many books now?
2. So
2?
yeah. So my first.
You want to help me write a book?
Huh?
You want to help me write a book?
Yeah, I'll help you
I'm
write a book.
fucking horrible at writing. I wish I could just sit down and like talk with somebody to help me write a book.
Hey,
it's actually been one of my like goals.
Just put all your information in AI. It'll write a book for you.
Hit up ChatGPT. It probably would actually, right? No, I'm actually like serious. Like I want to like one day like how did you get that like mental clarity to actually do that? And then you wrote the book, and then you've become a bestseller, international
bestseller. So that's a funny story because for years my brand was Princeton Clark coaching, and I reached this point where I said, okay, I felt the shift into evolved mastery. Like you have evolved your life through self-mastery. This is the new brand. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to expand this brand, I need something to give people to really pull them into what it represents. And so I was like, I'm going to write an ebook. And at that time I did some research, and they said, ebooks only have to be about 10,000 words. I was like, cool, I'm going to start working on it now. Once I write the ebook, I'm going to start a podcast. So I sat down Saturday night, again, sense of urgency. It's like, okay, the brand's hit me now. The LLC is up. I need something to give to people. And so I sat down that night, I wrote over 10,000 words, and it just hit me. This isn't going to be an ebook. This is going to be a complete book. So in time total, it took me 2 weeks to write my first book. And I didn't even really promote it afterwards. Because after I wrote that book, I started my podcast. And this is the crazy thing. Like, if you're out there and you're saying, you get that inspiration, that inner spark, when it hits you, like, man, I could do this. You feel it in every part of your body. That's your soul telling you it's go time. And a lot of the times what happens is we get that feeling, and then we give up that feeling, and we go into our heads and we start thinking about, what we can do and all the ways it might not work. Or we go and start telling people, man, I had this idea, I can do this. I realized a long time ago that the moment a vision comes to me, I don't need to go and tell everybody about it. The vision will speak for itself. And so that night I started the book, wrote the book, finished the book, and started the podcast. Well, I had 2 episodes on my podcast, Evolved Mastery, and I got asked, because I just felt led, I'm just going to comment on this post for this other group on Facebook. Come to find out, they're one of the biggest spiritual podcasts, out there. They've ranked number 1 for a while. I got interviewed on their podcast, and with only 2 episodes, I gained over 2,500, 2,700 followers from that one interview, and it just goes to say, if you truly feel that leading, you feel that inspiration, move on it now, because this is the most powerful moment. Yeah. Move on it now. Don't sit back and wait. Don't think about it, because the thing is, most people are in this comfortably miserable place where they've been there for so long talking about what they want, and if we talk about like the 4 zones of growth, there's the comfort zone, the fear zone, the learning zone, and the growth zone. What happens with most people, why they don't grow, why they don't write that book, why they don't build that next level of their business, why they don't scale their company, is because when they go to step out of what feels comfortable and what feels good, the first thing that happens to your brain as you step into the fear zone is your brain can only quantify or qualify what it has already experienced, because it's a program, it's a computer. So your brain is going to go into one of 2 steps. It's going to go into the remember wins or the what ifs. Remember last time you said you were going to do it? Remember how hard it was? Remember when they said they were going to support you and they didn't support you? What if you take this step and it falls? What if you take this step and it doesn't work? What if you take this step and the relationship doesn't work? It goes into remember wins or what if. So what most people do is they create this brick wall of Post-it notes of all the remember wins and what ifs. And it becomes this insurmountable thing that doesn't even exist. And they step back into the comfortable, miserable zone. And so when I realized that for myself, writing that book, starting the podcast allowed me to stretch. So that book, following that, before I even published it, I got a call to come and work for Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi at mastermind.com. And so I published the book. I didn't even think about it. I didn't really promote it. It sold, of course, my friends and everybody bought it when I published it. And probably over a year and a half later, when I went to publish my second book, I was like, let me go check it out. Let me see how it's doing. And it had gone number 1 international bestseller on Google and Amazon.
Did you add a round of applause in there? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So now you had the bestseller have to jump right back. We got bestseller. We got everything. Super epic. So, I have this hard thing that I've had to overcome as of recently because I got a lot of stuff and a lot of sayings like, okay, what makes you qualified to become a mentor or a teacher or someone that can inspire people? And it took a long time for me to find that self-worth and that self-value in myself to be able to say that. Yeah, I made a lot of money. Cool fucking story. But what actually qualifies me to do that? And then I started talking to people, and I realized that inside of the life of everything that we're doing, like, I have learned more. So, like, there's been, like, 3 really, really influential people in my life, okay? 3 really, really influential people, and they're not influential at all. And this was the moment that I've realized that everyone has a voice and everyone should use their voice. The first person that I'd say I learned a lot from was my little sister. When she was younger and when she was born, it influenced me. And I was young, but it influenced me a lot for something greater, right? And then the next 2 were my children when they were born. And then that like really, and that so but when my little sister was born, obviously I was like young, so like it didn't really do much. But then when my kids were born, it influenced me in a way of like this. And then I learned more from having them in my life than anyone else. And I've had the honor of being with some of the greatest humans ever. And don't get me wrong, they're all influential and they've all inspired me. They've all made me grow. But those moments. And then that was the moment when I realized that in life, anyone can learn anything from anybody. And that is what qualifies people to do this stuff. Yeah. If someone is willing to speak, there are people that are willing to listen and wanting to listen. And that right there like impacted my life. And when I finally gained that validation, because I've never had a mentor. Never in my life have I really had a mentor. I've had people around me that helped shape and form my life, but I've never had a mentor. And so like the hardest part with me is never having a mentor. I let pride and ego get in the way and saying, if I never had a mentor, then I don't need to mentor people. I don't need to help people, all this other shit. And it's like, no, it's like, I want to help, truly, truly help. And so I'm creating this project right now, and it's called the Better Man Project. And it's also called LivingIcon. We've also got like 30,000 names for it all. But LivingIcon, because this is the LivingIcon podcast, the ANTHONYSWORLD podcast, all that stuff, right? But I have a project called the Better Man Project. And after talking to you, this is the first time we've met. After talking to you and everything that you've done, we are looking for certain people with certain skill sets. And I'm just curious if you would be interested in some type of collaboration to help the people in my group with their mindset. 100%. Like a call once a month, I mean, I prefer once a week, but once a month, just a call. We do, this project has like been my passion lately. It's like my life. Like I'm going all in on this, and it's like I'm teaching people like 15 to 20 different ways of making money online. Everything from e-commerce, stocks, drop shipping, whatever the fuck it is. Pretty much all the proceeds are going to helping other people, like helping veterans, helping men, helping children that have been through stuff. Like it's purely a passion project. But like the project at the end of the day is I want to make men fucking great again. Like I want to make men fucking strong. Like I want to make men strong, right? But people need someone to help them with their mindset, you know? And so like at where you're at, like I truly believe. And then also what it'll do is, for your benefit, not just of helping people, but it'll also lead people to you. And that's my goal, is I want to lead people to other people that can help them with their life. Yeah. So like I realize in my life and business, I'm not the person that can necessarily change everyone's life, but what I can do is I can lead people to people that can change their life independently. I don't know everything, but I do know everyone everyone else, and they all have a lot of different stuff. So I'm basically want to build it's a connection group. Okay. For men. Yeah. Like we have everything from a fucking tailor, a fucking barber, like, and like it's not, and they're just literally gonna be like, they're just gonna talk about it. Like they're gonna talk about it, like how to fucking tie a tie. Yeah. How to smoke a cigar. What's a good glass of wine? What's a good glass of tequila? What's a good glass of scotch? What's a good beer, right? You know what I mean? Shit that men should know. I feel like. So if you would, this is my formal invitation, and if you would like to be a part of that, I would love to have you a part of that.
Yes, sir, man.
You in?
I'm in.
All right. You saw this.
No, see, because we got
saw
Andy
this
in the room right now, and so like I actually have this thing called the Evolved Man, and so we're in that same space. So,
and I just like, and it's not even like I'm out to like I want to be the person that connects people, because like I see a lot of these mentorship groups, and like they're great for the mindset, they're great, but like how are you teaching people how to make the money?
Right.
And so like what I did is I wanted to bring all that. We even put like fitness coaches in there. We put dietitians, nutritionists, everything like that to help with people's diets and stuff like that. I mean everything. Like I'm trying to go like this is like my passion. Literally, when I say it's so much of a passion, we recorded 27 videos in one day for this entire course. One take. One take. I love it. So,
I want to say something before you move on, because a lot of people, they have to overcome the imposter syndrome, that imposter, who am I to teach someone? Like, I've never even had a mentor. But the truth is, everybody's not going to hear my voice. Even if you think about your ideal client, the person that you can serve the most, that person, your ideal client, is a former version of you in some way. It's a former version of you. They're having some of the same challenges that you've had, some of the same frustrations, some of the same anger, some of the same, failures of belief, or lack of belief rather. They're struggling, and so your voice is greater than any other voice that could reach them, because they will only hear someone that can relate to their journey. But your voice, you're right, it's not for everybody. And that's why having a collective is important, because I don't want people coming to me that I don't understand their journey. You can't take somebody somewhere you've never been. And I think a lot of times what people try to do is they try to take people somewhere they've never been themselves, and this is why I say I look back on my life and I'm grateful for every challenge. I feel like I've lived multiple lives in one life. One person might grow through this, grow through that, grow through this, but I had the opportunity to grow through all these different experiences, which gave me the ability to impact multiple people. And so there are specific people who, like you said, like that's just their gift. Like that's what they're meant to be in. But then there are also pioneers and innovators who say, I see a problem, I want to create a solution. How can I create a collective to solve that problem? Because the responsibility of it is so big. But the thing about great vision is if it's not so big that it scares you, it's not big enough. Yeah. But you're not given that vision to carry it by yourself.
I love it. So you do a lot of public speaking and all that, I'm assuming, right? With the book.
Years, man.
Okay. So, do you got any tips for me? Because I'm about to speak in front of the largest crowd. I've only spoken in front of one crowd before. I mean, I've done like small events of 200, 300 people. Have you this one's like 3,000 to 5,000, and this is my first time in front of a crowd that big. Do you have any tips that doesn't involve looking at like the front row like they're naked or something like that? I've heard that so many times. Just look at the front row like everyone's naked or something. Like, do you have any tips, and like how do I become a better public speaker? Because I'm not gonna lie, like thinking about it, I might bring Conrad on stage with me, just so I can. And he's all fine with it. He's all like, I'm cool. I'll speak in front of anybody. I don't give a shit. And I'm over here like this. I might have a heart attack on stage. If I croak and die on stage, I'm sorry. But do you have any tips? Do you have any advice? Because that's like one of my biggest fears.
Well, I'll tell you, like Les Brown said. He said, information doesn't change lives. A lot of times people think I gotta write all this stuff down. I gotta make sure I hit all the points. But he was like, information doesn't change lives. Telling a story that people can connect to the point where they believe it's possible for them, that's what changes lives. So the greatest advice I can give you is when you go out there, think about the journey that you've taken, and imagine all the people that may be sitting in that audience right now
that match, align with that.
And just be authentically you. And you can, even when you're speaking, saying, you know what, I might not be everybody's cup of tea, but somebody today is going to drink what I'm pouring out. And all I can ever be is me.
I'm still in that one. I'm still in it. No, I love that. Because you're right. Being authentic and being vulnerable as of lately, being vulnerable. I feel like as a man, you have to sometimes put your shoulders up, your chest up, shoulders back, head high. And sometimes I'm realizing that's, I would say the last year for me, what I've gone through is a phase of vulnerability, a phase of growth, of it's okay to not be the strongest. It's okay not to not be the best. It's okay to not have everything figured out. And that was like, that's my stronghold of vulnerability has been a huge journey for me. And so being vulnerable allows me to connect, being relatable. But I'm not gonna lie, like I pretty much last year, I'm gonna tell you, this is a funny story. I got on stage last year, and this is in front of like 1,000 people, like not that many, right? I got on stage, and pretty much the first statement I said, I'm a Forex trader. Look, Conrad's literally shaking his head. I'm nervous as shit. I'm sitting in a chair like this, face red, spinning, talking to people, right? And I literally so I'm a Forex trader. Like that's what everyone like knows me as. That's like the big thing, right? I pretty much got on stage and I said, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I fucking hate trading and pretty much fuck Forex. Is literally like the opening statement I said. And everyone just went, huh? And I was like, okay, that was probably not the right thing to say. But yeah. And I just sat there like that. And that is literally what happened. And then I realized like, okay, I should probably prepare for this time. Because there's literally, it went from like 1,000 people to like 5,000 people now. So like I'm on stage in front of 5,000 people, and I'm probably gonna shit a brick.
Yeah. All right. So this is one thing that I would say, because of course sharing your story, like a lot of times people go on stage and they try to share the entire journey. You know, if you're giving business tips, personal tips, whatever it is, the things that you've had to grow through to get to this point. A lot of times they try to fit that entire journey into one talk, and I say, you know, it's like going to a movie. Imagine the journey is the movie. People don't care about the whole movie. There were specific scenes in that movie
that they capture their attention.
Right. So imagine those moments. There are certain scenes from your journey. The scene is made up of what I call the 3 S's: the struggle, the search, and the success. What were the 3 to 5 things that you were struggling with that led you to the point where you were like, okay, I got to make a shift. I got to do something better. You know, or I'm sick and tired of being where I am. I got to do something else. So it sent you on a search. During that search, you gained wisdom. During that search, you learned more about the business that helped you scale it a little bit more or helped you profit a little bit more. And then as a result, the 3 to 5 problem or pain points you had now became 3 to 5 success areas. When you get good at breaking up the scenes and saying, okay, at this point, when I first began, boom, I was here and I was just doing it, you know, but then I realized X. And at this point I knew something had to shift, but something happened.
So essentially creating a problem and then solving it on the stage for people. Got it.
Take them on the journey of the problem to the success, you know.
Got it.
But I mean, this is what I help coaches and speakers do all the time.
You hired. You hired. I love it. So what can you say to people that want to take the road to growing and impacting others? Like, what do you and I don't want the answer that everyone says, the bullshit answer. Just go do it. No, fuck that. I want an answer that no one's heard before. Like, what do you say to those people that want to do this? Like, what kind of motivation can you give for people to actually reach out and go and impact others?
The realest I can be is you need to be able to, I mean, because this is what I did. You know, when I realized that I had the potential to impact the world or impact certain people's lives, I had to get in front of the mirror and I had to have a real heart-to-heart with myself. And I started speaking about what my vision was, what my capacity to create change was, because I knew that I had to sell myself on the vision before I sold anybody else on it. If you are not sold on your vision and your capacity to impact someone else, that vision will never manifest, because in order for a vision to manifest, you have to become the version of you capable of harnessing and holding that vision. And if you don't believe in yourself to the capacity that you know it's specifically been given to you, guess what? You're never going to take the steps. And so, you know, get around people that see that possibility for you, that are going to hold you accountable, that are going to pour into you. You know, get mentors. You know, if you've never been mentored, or maybe you grew up in a rough environment like I did. I didn't have a lot of mentors growing up. I only knew religion. So books were my best friends. So educate yourself. You know, success leaves clues. Again, who are some of the best in this industry of impact? What have they done? How did they do it? Again, not imitating them, but how can I take parts of this, own it for myself, Use it as a tool and just start applying it.
Self-belief.
Right.
So my favorite book, I've only, like, literally everyone knows this, I've only read like one book in my entire life. And it's called The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. And it taught me like how to believe, like the confidence of like don't just say, oh, I'm going to get rich. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's like putting power and meaning behind that. And that taught me a lot. The self-belief of like, you know, not only like, oh, I'm going to be rich, but like take money out, I'm going to be like, instead of saying I'm going to be wealthy, it was more of like, I am going to earn everything that I want and desire in life. And it like changing those structures and changing that way of life was really, really powerful for me. So I grew up in a very religious household, very, very religious household. It was just very different. But at the same time, being involved in a very religious household, being involved, even though I'm not religious at all, being involved in that aspect of my life, it taught me a lot. You know, one of the big things that I've always done, I haven't in a long time, but I read the Bible a lot. And I have very different beliefs than 99% of the population. I don't label myself as a fucking Christian, as Catholic, Baptist. I don't label myself as any of that. I have what I believe in, and those beliefs are very, very strict. But I do believe that certain people in the world need something like the Bible to have core values. Because a lot of people are... I don't want to say it like this. How do I say this without sounding like a complete asshole? Fuck it. Fuck it. What I believe, this is a lot of what I believe, because you told me you were a pastor and you had this. I believe that 90+% of the population are too weak to be good for themselves and for others, so they need something to be taught them, taught to them of like, this is what you have to do. They have to believe in someone else or something else in order to just be a good fucking person.
100%.
Okay, so I'm not the only one that thinks that.
So
So how has the Bible impacted your life, and how has religion? I don't want to get like super religious, but I'm just curious because like that's been a big thing for me, is because I always knew that doing the right fucking thing was the right fucking thing to do, right? I always knew being a good person, being a person that took shit for others, being the person that like was like honorable, like honor over paychecks. Like that's like one of my big mottos, like honor over pride, honor over everything. Like I'm going to be the person, if someone needs something, I'm going to figure it out the way out, and I'm going to figure it out because I feel like that's just going to that's going to do the right thing, right? So, but I've been around so many people that they need something like the Bible to just be a fucking decent human being. And that's just shitty to me. Yeah. Like that's just shitty. Like that's just shitty human principles, I feel like. But how has that helped you, and how has that changed where you are now in life? Because, you know, you've gone through so much and you've been through it, and now you have this wisdom and this experience that comes from experience in life and age. So like, how do I learn from that? How does it benefit me? Because once again, it's fucking selfish. How does it benefit me?
Yeah, man, it's honorable is what it is, because you're seeking outside of yourself to gain more clarity of self. And again, success leaves clues. But anyway, for me, again, when I took that journey, because pastors in my community had even told my family I was a lost cause, when my life changed, I didn't know what was happening. So I went on the journey, the biblical journey, by myself, and I've read the Bible from beginning to end more times than most people probably pick it up. But I studied the original languages, and the beautiful thing is,
I've read it a lot too. Yeah. That's one of the books, but I don't consider that a book. So but that's one of the books. That's one thing that I've read a lot too.
Yeah, it's a series of stories, compilation of stories and writings. You know, people call it a book, but it's not. Yeah. But I think what really impacted my life was the message of Jesus. I always tell people I'm not a Christian, you know, I'm not a religious person, you know, but neither were the original followers of Jesus or Yeshua. Like, neither were they. Yeah. You know, the original followers were called Gnostic, which in Greek means knowing. You know, they had a deeper knowing. You know, Jesus never preached, you know, repent and give your life to me, you know. Yeah. I'm dying on the cross for your sins. That word repent, the first message where he actually uses that, the Aramaic language that he actually spoke is an illustrative language, and one word can have 50 to 100 different meanings. Well, in that passage where he says repent for the kingdom is at hand, Repentance illustrates a 180-degree turn. It's a coming back to, it's a waking up. So ultimately what he said was, wake up, remember what you are, for the kingdom is at hand. His entire message was, the kingdom is like this, the kingdom is like this, the kingdom is like this. Don't worry about what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, where you're going to live. Don't even worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has enough concerns of its own. Instead, seek ye first the kingdom. A few passages over, he comes back and he says, don't listen to men when they say, lo, the kingdom is here or the kingdom is there. For I tell you, the kingdom is in you. His message came to reawaken people to their own divine power and their dominion, to create, to be fruitful, to be multipliers in the earth. He said, if you had a faith of a mustard seed, you can speak to a mountain and tell it to move, and it has to move. The problem is with religion, we teach people to seek outside, not the kingdom inside. We teach people to seek something that's going to judge them. And Paul even hits this in Romans 1 when he says, God is clearly seen in all things. But instead, you created God in your own image, in your own likeness, after the image of corruptible man, four-footed beasts, and creeping things. He literally hit every religion. So how it helped me studying the original language was understanding that if you study God, even God in the Old Testament was never personified as a he or a him, because in Hebrew and Aramaic, it's an illustration. You would always hear God spoken of as a lily in the valley, the rivers of flowing water, the tree of life, all these different things, the wheel in the middle of the wind. God was creation. This was a tribal people, not a modern people. And so what it did for me is I realized that in every moment, I see God in everything. I see God in this table. I see God in this wall. Everything that is could not exist without the power of the infinite that my finite mind can't even begin to comprehend, but I can feel the experience of it. And so when I realized that I have this experience to experience God, and the deepest level of experience that I can have with God is through loving and honoring myself, the very vessel that it breathes through. The word spirit in Aramaic is ruha, and it means breath. And so when I say I am breath, God is the breath of life. I am breathing, I am being, I am one with God, which is why Jesus said, nothing can ever separate you from it. When I leave this body, what happens? I take my last breath. I am one with all creation. I never die. I never feel the sting of death. And so when I realized that, it brought me to the state of gratitude and understanding what most religious people don't understand, because they seek a man to worship. They still seek a king. They still seek someone to tell them what to do, because they don't truly understand what they are, because they're lost in this idea of who they think they are, who the world has told them they are, who their circumstances and their life situations has told them they are. But if you look at a child, I love what you said earlier about your children, because I always say my kids, aside from my own spirit, have been my greatest teachers. Why? Because as they were growing, I have 6 beautiful children. As they were growing, I got to see God experiencing itself in form through each of them. You look at a child wakes up every day before they are programmed. They wake up every day. Every day is a new adventure.
Yes.
Every day.
So beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Get chills just
I know.
thinking
It's so.
and all we know how to do is love.
I believe the greatest purpose in life is having children.
Man.
100%. The greatest purpose in life is ever to have children.
Yeah.
It will. There's crazy. I could go on for this part. I can go on ever. But there's a moment in life for me, like literally before I had kids, I would, I'd be I'd literally if I heard something at my door, I would literally okay, in my head I'd be okay, I'm gonna grab the gun, you know what I mean? Someone's breaking in. Now, dude, literally, I have two dogs that are literally attack dogs. They're built just to attack and protect. That's their only job, right? I'm at my door. If I hear my door, my alarm go off faster than they are. No gun in hand, can be in my fucking underwear. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And there was a sense of protection that came over me when I had children, that gave me a purpose. I will stay alive longer just to serve that purpose.
Right.
And so it's just cool that you said that. So I'm a big believer on the power of words, the power of what you speak, right? And the reason I asked you about the Bible and stuff, and the reason I like to get creative with it is because, so in the first book of the Bible, it says, and he spoke, let there be light. So he had to speak it into existence. And so like my biggest lesson and my biggest learning, my biggest teaching was that everything that you say here comes to existence.
Right.
So be careful with your words. Be careful with what you say aloud. Because I believe that speaking something into existence is one of the most powerful things. Because God or Yahweh or whatever you want to put on him, energy, spirit, vibe, whatever the fuck you want to put on him, there's so many things you could do. Literally, he said, and he spoke, let there be light. And he said, let there be light. He had to speak before there was even an actual physical possibility.
Yeah.
So it became a conscious thought. It became a subconscious thought that became conscious that then came out. And that was, so your words are your most powerful thing that you could ever have.
This dude just light me on fire. I got chills.
So like that is one of my biggest takeaways from the Bible. That is it. Like not that's it, but that is one of my biggest takeaways.
That's huge, because even if you read writings, they first formed as words, but they created the experiences thereof that became the story, and so it goes back to that. But taking it a little bit deeper, when I speak, we've defined certain sounds as words, but ultimately what is happening is a vibration. I'm not actually speaking words right now. I am releasing a vibration, which is communicating to your mind, and it's translating the energy of that vibration. And based on how we define words, this is why I would often say, even as a speaker, I hate words, because depending on how I speak a word, depending on your level of consciousness or awareness or the meaning that you give to the sound of that vibration, you're going to say that it's something else other than what it may be. But we have so much power through our words. And this is why Tony often talks about incantations versus affirmations, because I can speak an affirmation, I am happy, healthy, wise, like you were saying, your I am statements, but the truth is, and I always say your I am statements are your most powerful statements, because you have to feel it in your body, but an incantation is not just saying, I am happy, I am healthy, I am wise. I remember when I was leaving a speaking event with my former wife, my oldest kid's mom, and driving down the road that night, I looked over at her and I said, you are potentially married to one of the greatest men who has ever lived, because I just felt it. Yeah. I turned forward, I'm driving, my spirit spoke to me and said, you're still scared. And I was like, what? And it continued, because if you can see the potential for being one of the greatest men who's ever lived, you don't say you are potentially, you say, I am one of the greatest men who has ever lived. And from that day, I started speaking. Whatever came to me, I am this. Yeah. I am one of the most powerful men in the world. I am one of the most impactful individuals that you will ever meet in your life. And something in this world will be different, because I am powerful enough to be that difference. And it doesn't matter if you put me on the stage with everybody in this room. See, I own that energy. It doesn't matter who the hell you are. Yeah. It's like, and that frequency now translates through what I'm communicating. And those who are conscious enough to receive it, they feel it. Yeah. Oh, you feel it. You feel it. You feel it in your soul. You feel the energy. You feel the power of the word, the power of the breath, the power of man. Words create everything. Jeez, man, man, I could go on for hours on this one. I can go on for hours on this one. We got to do a part 2. And 3 and 4 and 5. Can we just do a whole fucking series? Have a segment, man. We'll have a whole series. We'll just create a series together. I love it, man. I love it. Super inspiring. Super fucking awesome. Number one, I appreciate you coming on, bro. Man. Number one for me. Right? For you? Number one? For me? Number one. He's like, look, don't diss everybody else. I'm not dissing anybody, okay? Damn it. Just I'm here, I'm learning. When I feel inspired, that's for me, that's powerful. Like that's fucking epic. You've had to grow through so much on your own that you're the strongest person you know. So when someone else comes into your life, I vibrate with that, bro. Because when you come, I'm so used to being me. Like one of my mentors told me, he's like, you're so used to being you that you don't realize how powerful you are. Yeah. So when someone else enters into your space who's equally as powerful, even if the journey is different, you feel it. Yeah. And it I'm getting chills again, bro. Like, I love it. I love the power. I love power. This is it. This is literally when I say, like, I want to make men great again. This is the power
this is it. Like, this is what I want to do. This is why I do the podcast, is to inspire, to push, to motivate, because we're all different walks of life.
Yeah.
But we've all have one mission, one goal, and you know, one aspiration, one dream, and that's just to change, change and evolve. I love it that your business is all about evolution. Right. It's about evolving. It's about growing, because that's the one thing that's always going to happen. It's like everything in your life is going to evolve. It has to. It might not be necessarily be for worse, but it might not be for better. It's just it's going to be something. It's going to change.
Right.
Tomorrow will be different than today. And when you, as a person, as a human, can become vulnerable and accept that you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, you don't know what's going to be tomorrow, you don't know what's going to exist tomorrow, and you can say, I am going with it, so now, therefore, I am good, I am great, I can make this happen, it's going to align and it's going to fall into your purpose. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's just always been a very, very huge thing of like, I knew I had to come here. I just didn't know it was going to take me this long. Yeah. I didn't know it was going to take me this long to get here, because it's been very hard for me to like accept, like I've always been like the guy that's like, I have to be the best. I have to be the best. I have to be the best. And then when you can start accepting things of like, you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like I cannot be here tomorrow. So now like I'm living right now. Like this is it. It becomes powerful. So real quick, I do this. I'm going to put you on the spot. I need you to look into this camera. I need you to leave the audience with one powerful message and statement in one sentence.
One sentence. Ooh,
yeah.
That's so hard for me. You were born for greatness, but only until you realize and accept it will you fully step into and embodying it. I'd had to shorten that up, but that's so hard.
I think this is like my fourth round of clapping. I love it. Super powerful. Real quick, also, where can people find you?
Across all social media platforms at Princeton Clark, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
What is your website?
EvolvedMastery.com. That's evolved with an ED. EvolvedMastery.com and PrincetonClark.com.
We'll also put some socials and some everything down there. But man, I appreciate it. Thank you. This was a fucking powerful episode. And once again, please make sure you are liking, commenting, you are sharing your experience, you're sharing your stories. Give him a follow. Make sure you also turn that notification bell on, because these are coming out weekly, and we're going to keep fucking growing, and we're going to keep making shit happen. And thank you for the love and support. And we are out. Peace.
Start when we stop, we gon' get it done. Get it when we start, we gon' get it done. Start when we stop, we gon' get it done.
Anthony's World.